there are things known, and there are things unknown, and in between are the doors of perception, and the doorways of perception are now open. All around us, there exists worlds of the seen and the unseen, in a universe of endless possibilities. We should never limit ourselves to a single perspective. For in order to hunt the shadows and become true explorers of the unknown and the unexplained, we must sometimes take a paranormal point of view.
Yes, the doors of perception are now open, and it's time for a paranormal point of view. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're a little bit late tonight and had some technical difficulties. Hello to all of you out there in podcast land tonight. This is another edition of Paranormal Point of View coming right at you. Hope you've had a fantastic week. We've had a very busy week, but it's been fun. We definitely had some fun this week. Absolutely. And I hope you have had too, listening to some of these podcasts. And I will appreciate you so much for being here. Tonight is our open discussion night. So you got any questions, any observations? We're just here to chew the fat, shoot the breeze, and drink some coffee. How's that sound? We're going to be talking about anything you want to talk about. All right? So go for it. This is what you've been waiting on now. This is your time to shine. Yes, I got all kinds of cute sayings like that. I should have been a disc jockey, kind of like Dr. Johnny Fever. Yeah, I might just lay back in the chair and go to sleep on you. But anyway, I used to love to watch WKRP in Cincinnati. It was a great show. I was a big fan of that show, and especially of the good doctor, Dr. Johnny Fever. Absolutely. Want to welcome you all in here tonight. Hello, Carl. Hello, Midwest Night Watchers, the ever lovely Shiro. Hello, dear. Wizard Moon and JoJo. All right. We're starting to fill up. Hello, Angelique. I love your name, Angelique. I'll bet you were named after the witch from Dark Shadows, Angelique. She was quite a fetching young thing. She was, definitely. And she was trouble, though. Oh, yeah, but some of the best women are trouble. Is that right? That's what they tell me, anyway. I don't know whether I believe that or not, but that's what they tell me. But I want to welcome you all in here tonight. And it's like I said, it's been a long but busy week. I just got through just a few minutes ago. And I think that's kind of what messed up my StreamYard a little bit. I just got through shooting a documentary with my good friend Daniel Benoit. And about some of my experiences. And we're looking for that. Definitely going to be looking for that. When it comes out. Absolutely. I love documentaries. I've done a couple of documentaries in the past, and this is a new one here. So we're hoping we'll get that out. But want to welcome you all in here tonight, and we're gonna. Here's JoJo. Hello, JoJo. Yeah, that's what I was telling Daniel, that it's very important that we document all this stuff, because one day I'm not going to be here, and a lot of us won't be here. Our stories will die with us if they're not recorded. So, I've always said that we should, record all this stuff, because no story, no matter what it is, should ever be lost to history. Hey, Jojo, I'm glad you enjoyed Nosferatu. Was this the old one or the new one that you saw? I like the old one the best, but although it's silent, the new one had its moments, though, too. I was okay, I think a lot of that nudity was unnecessary, but that's Hollywood. You got to get, they got to get on there and take their clothes off, or they don't make any money. Johnny Depp has a very beautiful daughter, though. She's a nice-looking girl. Good actress. I think she may be a better actress than he is. Did you check under the bed when you watched it? Or what I always like that. They used to tell the old, I'll give everybody that at the ending tonight for the show. But I love that old, the ending to the original Dracula that they always did at the end of the movie. I'll tell everybody that one tonight. I always love it. I like to do it. It's sort of a little ending there for it. And, but it's neat. Back when the old days when they really knew how to make movies, right, Gerald? Absolutely. Gerald knows that. He's the movie man. He has a movie channel. Gerald Fountain has a movie channel on Night Watchers, Midwest Night Watchers. You need to check it out sometime. He has some good old movies on there. Yes, sir. Some of them not too old, but he has good movies. He's got good people like me to advise him on these movies. See, that's what it is. But anyway, he does a good job with it. He doesn't need any help. Yes, it has a great ending. Yeah. I kind of like the old one though too. I kind of got used to watching it over the years. They're both. You really can't compare them because they're really completely drastically different in many ways. The story is basically the same. Did you pick up on the fact that Nosferatu is directly connected to the plague? Huh? That was part of the original Dracula. There was some plague talked about in it as well. He brought not only rats and bats with him, he brought the plague with him too. That's interesting. He was a harbinger of definite death. Dracula was absolutely. And if you will ever care to check, you can go back and look in the archives with the interview that I did with Bram Stoker's great grandnephew, Dacre Stoker, who lives not too far from me, actually. And you ought to check that out if you never saw it. We had a great, fantastic interview about Dracula and some of his uncle's work, that he did with some other of the novels that Bram Stoker was working on. Bram Stoker is one of my favorite authors, and I was happy to finally meet his great grandnephew. It was a great interview, so go check it out. You can find it in the archives of Hunting the Shadows. I had him on here twice, as a matter of fact. He's a great guy. I enjoyed talking to him. Great guy. Dacre Stoker. Check his stuff out. He's got a lot of work out there, definitely. He's working on some of the. I think there was sort of like a different edition of Dracula in Iceland or something like, or Greenland or somewhere like that. Anyway, they've been talking about that lately. It's almost the guy that was supposed to interpret it, Dracula for Greenland. He kind of wrote his own Dracula while he did it. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting story about that. Favorite movie of all time, JoJo? Okay, well, you need to go check my interview out with Dacre Stoker. He's a fun guy, great guy. He really gives some good insights into it. Fantastic interview. Absolutely. I read Dracula at least a couple of times a year. That's one of my favorite novels, along with Frankenstein. But yeah, had a good show on. I think I stepped on some toes of some of the witches over there that frequent Aquarius Rising. But we had a good show the other day. We had some technical problems with it. I had to close the show for them, but it was interesting. Was Barnabas a good vampire or a bad one? Kind of depends on which way you look at it, Angelique. He kind of became sort of very tragic. He was sort of a Shakespearean character. He starts out kind of evil, then he turns kind of tragic, and you kind of feel sorry for him. So you start kind of rooting for the guy. It's very interesting. He was a very paradoxical type of a vampire. I always felt sorry for the guy because he got cursed by Angelique, the witch, and turned into a vampire by her. She had a vampire bat bite him, and he put the curse of the vampire on him. He didn't want to be a vampire. Witches will be witches. Yes, they will, Wizard Moon. They definitely will. I got a bunch of them stirred up and mad at me the other day. But do I look worried? Anyway, I don't know. They don't. Here's the thing about it. Here's the funny thing about it, folks. When you start pointing things out to people, and I'm not being judgmental here, okay? I mean, what you do is your own business. You know better, one way or the other. I don't have to tell you. I'm not here to judge you. One day you will stand before a much greater judge than me. I don't judge nobody but myself. But when you do point out some of these things and people get mad about it, you got to wonder what side they really on here. You know what I'm saying? You got to wonder about it. And if you play the devil's advocate too much, what does that really tell about you? You know? Think about it. If you take the side of Satan, hell, and the devil too much, where does that put you? Hmm? It's not good spiritually. You know, God, here's the bad thing about it, folks, and I'm not giving you a sermon tonight. But here's the bad thing about this world today. I have never, ever in my entire life have seen so much spiritual blindness and darkness in this world. It is incredible. And it's growing day by day by day, like some kind of terrible plague or fungus or something. It's growing more and more and more. It's wild. Hello, Urso. Just stopped in to say hi to everyone, but I'm getting real sleepy. The sun wore me out today. Weed eating, huh? Well, Carl, go take you a long nap. You can catch up with us on rerun later, buddy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have never seen so much spiritual darkness and blindness. It amazes me. I don't get amazed very easy anymore. Okay, but that amazes me. It really does. I have to say that. It's discomforting. It makes me feel bad about what the state of this world is in. But if you get uncomfortable with the truth and you don't like the truth, that tells me something about you that ain't good. If you are an enemy of truth and light, where does that put you, my friend? You got an answer for that? Scott? Hey, Scott, how you doing? Iniquity abounds. That is very true. Absolutely. It abounds more and more every day. Every day. It's leaps and bounds. By leaps and bounds. I don't know. I feel sorry for this world in many ways. And it's just like watching somebody walk blindfolded to a 500-foot cliff. You want to stop them, you want to save them, but they're not listening to you. I'm like the watchman on the wall. Nobody's listening to me. It is frustrating at times. It depresses me. It really does depress me badly. That stuff is going on. Have you seen any good movies lately? Well, JoJo, I haven't really had a chance to watch any this week. I saw one about Harry Price. It wasn't really worth watching. You know who Harry Price is, do you? He was the founder of ghost hunting, Harry Price. It would have been a good movie, but it just got too weird. I don't know. They should have had it more about his real true life. It would have been more interesting. I don't know. Harry Price was an interesting guy. He sort of started out like Harry Houdini. He was going around and exposing fake mediums and psychics and stuff, like Houdini did. And then for a while, even Arthur Conan Doyle was helping Houdini until they had a falling out. They kind of had a falling out with each other. They were good friends for a long time. I tell my grandchildren that hair will grow on their tongues if they lie. Once in a while, they will try and unwanted the hair your tongue. There used to be an old saying, tell too many lies, hair will grow on your tongue. That would have to be an awful feeling, would it not? Ugh. Liar, liar, pants on fire. That's what we used to say. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the world. I really don't. The world, the devil, Satan, darkness has so many people blinded, so many people going the wrong way, as far from God as you possibly can get, far from the truth as possible. And they're just being led like sheep to the slaughter. You know what I mean? Sheep to the slaughter. It's sad. It really is sad. Hello, Alexander. Good to have you here. Blue Eyed Bandit is in the house. We'll go look, and it's totally busted. Oh, I told some lies. I ready to check and see if I got any hair on my tongue. I did see a good movie the other day that is really well. I don't know if you. It has some darkness to it, definitely. The Brotherhood of the Wolf, if you've never seen it, is really about the Beast of Gavaden. And it's a very interesting movie and it has some very interesting characters in it. It has a very dark side to it, though. I mean, it's nothing for the kids to watch, definitely. But if you've never seen Brotherhood of the Wolf, you might want to check it out. It's a great werewolf movie. Absolutely great movie. Werewolf stuff. You know me. That's like me and my good buddy Jessica. We love werewolves, okay? We're always talking about. We had a fantastic show yesterday about smoke wolves in Appalachia. I told that joke about Appalachia. You know why they call it the Appalachia? Because they'll throw apples at you if you're not careful. I was going to see if anybody's listening to that. Yeah, JoJo, check out the Brotherhood of the Wolf. Smoke wolves are pretty cool. Yeah, they are. Interesting. I've studied them for a long time, a lot of stories, and they actually go over into Native American stuff as well. The Native Americans call them smoke in the wind. Spirits. They were like spirits, smoke in the wind. Very interesting. Appalachia. They throw apples at you. You get it? Okay. I was just wondering if you heard that. I can see the Appalachian Mountains from my front door, by the way. All I got to do is open the front door and look. That's where I'm at. There's certain things you don't do around the Appalachians. Not around here, you don't. And of course, it's nightfall. All my blinds and windows are closed. Doors are locked. We're in the house already. It's also called Tananami Trail, which actually comes from Miami. Miami, Miami, huh? That's sort of like Trail to Miami put together. Miami, yeah. Miami. I have a view of mountains too, very beautiful. Yeah, I love to see them in winter when they got snow on them. I've climbed up some of them when they had snow on them. I tell you what, you think it's cold down in the valleys, you don't know nothing. You get cold, cold on top of a mountain in the wintertime with snow in the middle of a blizzard. You got cold, brother. Definitely. It is cold. That wind coming off that mountain. There's nothing to knock the wind off on the mountain except for trees, and there's probably not enough of them usually, especially on the mountaintop. Miami Trail. Miami. Sounds like an Indian name, doesn't it? I guess Miami is a Native American thing. I think it was the Miami tribe or something like that. I had a good friend many years ago. nice old lady that lived in Miami, and she told me a ghost story about Miami. I'm actually told that on a podcast not too long ago, and it's a very interesting ghost story that she experienced there. Fascinating stuff. He went back away. Hey, what? You better have some really warm clothes when you get in that kind of situation. You can lose body heat very quickly. And you know what's very important is your hat. Keeps the heat in your body better when you got a good lid on. So what are you going to be doing tonight? What's your plans for the night? Are you going to be watching any movies, TV shows after this program goes off, or what? You going to go fix supper? You going to invite me? Okie Finoki, yeah, Okie Finoki and the Seminoles, yeah. Seminoles never got conquered, actually. Not like, some of the other Indian tribes did. That's what somebody was talking about the other day. They say that America's stolen land, but somebody stole something from everybody. Even the American Indian tribes, they were fighting each other and stealing each other's land. Somebody was always stealing something from somebody else. That's nothing new. That happened all over the world. That's the state of mankind itself. They're always stealing something from somebody else. It will be lunchtime here. My gosh. Lunchtime at night. That's okay. I had a very late dinner myself because I had that podcast coming up before this. We recorded, I think, about a little over an hour, and I had to hurry up and eat supper real quick, or dinner as people up north like to call it. I had to eat it real quick and do that podcast. I had to do that at 7. 4 a.m. comes early, huh? Oh gosh, comes around 4 a.m. I was talking about that on Jessica's show the other night. 3 a.m. I was. That's why they call me the Midnight Hunter, because I'd always start hunting at midnight on in the dawn. I would do my hunting then. So they gave me a title. They called the Midnight Hunter, and I brought it back out the other day, dusted it off. I said, "Well, they might as well call me that. I've been called worse." So that's the new title I've got. Dr. Dennis Carroll, the Midnight Hunter, from Hunting the Shadows. So you'll be seeing that a little bit more in the future, the Midnight Hunter. When you hear that, that's me, okay? I don't want you to be confused about that. You're in Australia, JoJo. Oh, that's why it's lunchtime. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. You're not next door, definitely. I always wanted to go to Australia. Australia is a beautiful country. I had a friend in Australia. Her name was Willow. She made a business out of making fairy wings. Did I ever mention that? She could make the beautiful fairy wings and she would sell them. Little children love these things, buddy. And she would sell those things and she made a killing out of that. She lived in Queensland. And she told me about one night having a Tasmanian tiger run across the road in front of her. Wow. They're supposed to be extinct. There's my good buddy, Midwest Night Watchers. Hello, Gerald. How you doing, bud? I thought you went to sleep there. I thought you might have dozed off, brother. You got quiet. I didn't know. You used to make fairy wings, huh? Oh, okay. Well, that was a business down there in Australia. I always wanted to go to Australia. Australia's beautiful, but it has a lot of animals that will kill you. But of course, every place does. They got their own kind of animals that will unalive you if you're not careful. But Australia's got a little bit more of a bumper crop on them than other places. I tell you, another place I always thought was fantastically beautiful, New Zealand. New Zealand is beautiful. I always wanted to go there as well. My favorite location is a mountain by the sea. I like mountains by the sea. That's my favorite. I'm a mountain person, and I'm an ocean person too. I would have to sit on my mountain and watch the sea. That's my perfect location. That's why somebody asked me the other day, said, Dennis, what do you think heaven looks like? I said, heaven to me would be a beautiful house on my mountain overlooking the sea. That would be heaven for me. Just stalking in the shadows, huh? There you go, Gerald. Good job. He's a night stalker. The Midwest Night Stalker. That's a good name for you, Gerald. Midwest Night Stalker. Mine's a deep dark forest, huh? Oh, okay. Well, I would of course definitely have woods on my mountain. You know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Every year we host a soccer team from New Zealand. They are very sweet. Oh yeah, I like New Zealand. It's pretty neat. Yeah. That's where they filmed The Lord of the Rings, Beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. I don't know. It's my favorite movies, Lord of the Rings. I love all those movies. Great. Very poetic. It's almost like watching Shakespeare or something. I mean, my favorite author is definitely is Tolkien. He was great. I always wanted to meet him. He died, I think, about the time I was born. I always wanted to meet him. But I fell in love with the Lord of the Rings when I was in high school. They gave us an assignment to read The Hobbit, and I didn't want it. I thought, oh, God, it sounded like it's boring. The teacher made it sound boring. And I said, okay, I'll check it out. I got to reading that thing, and boy, before you know it, I had devoured that book completely from end to end. And I said, where's the next one? I fell in love with it. It was great stuff. The Hobbit, of course, is where I began. The movies, though, are very good. And the reason the movies are very good, it's not just the actors. They had great actors, but it stuck very close to the books. That's why it was so successful and so good. Yes, it's a great series. I watch it every once in a while. I'll pull it out and watch it. Blue-eyed man, he likes swamps, huh? You're a swamp person, huh? All right. I bet you eat turtle stew, right? You like turtle stew? Watch out for them snapping turtles. Well, them things are mean. I caught one time years ago. That thing broke a doggone broom handle. They do that, they bite your fingers off real easy, or your wrist if it's big enough of a snapping turtle. And one of my favorite cryptids is they giant snapping turtle. They're supposed to be in the swamps, deep in the swamps, giant snapping turtles that can eat a man. Yeah, that would be a bad cryptid to run into, my friends. Absolutely. A giant snapping turtle. Oof, that would be bad. No, Ida, you're just in time. We're getting wound up. We're doing open discussion night. We're just sitting around chewing the fat, shooting the breeze, drinking coffee, and talking. Of course, I'm drinking tea. I don't know what the rest of you might be drinking. I'm drinking tea tonight. I got some iced tea in here. The blood of the South. Sweet iced tea. Yes, sir. We couldn't run the South without it. Everything would come grinding to a halt. It definitely would. Hey, a woman asked me in a restaurant one day, I said, I'll take some tea, please. She said, that's sweet or unsweet? And I said, there's unsweet tea? I never heard of that before. She thought that was funny. I bet she didn't get a lot of requests for unsweetened tea. I surely wouldn't drink it. That's sort of, I don't know, an abomination to think that you could have tea without sugar in it. That don't even make sense. And some people erroneously put sugar in the cornbread. No, 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 you don't do that in the South. You do not put sugar in cornbread or biscuits in the South. No, no, no. You don't cook that way. No, no, no. Nope. As a matter of fact, I bought some cornbread one time from a supermarket, deli, And I got stuff home, started eating it, and it tasted like a darn cake. It was sweet. So I went back and complained to the manager of the rest of the supermarket. I said, "Look, you're selling cornbread with sugar in it. What the world's wrong with you people? We do not do that in the South. I'm sorry. If we want sweet cornbread, if we want sweet cornbread, we'll make a cake, which is about the same thing." I said, "No, we don't do that with cornbread." I said, "You need to fix that. And you must have some people from up north running your deli or something. There's something wrong with this." You know, he thought it was funny, but I was serious. You don't do that to cornbread. That's just sacrilegious stuff right there, buddy. Yeah, I like peppers in the cornbread. That's good, Blue Eye. I like that. We call that Mexican cornbread. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Not, I'm not a real big fan of hot peppers. I like, like banana peppers and green, just regular green peppers, and maybe bell peppers. I'm a fan of those. I love to eat those. I'm not into, cayenne pepper and stuff like that. I'm not into it. I don't like food that bites back. Nope. Grits. I have grits every morning, but I love grits. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I got 2 or 3 grits trees growing out in the backyard right now. Yep. Loaded with grits. Yep. Oh, yeah. The perfect breakfast is a hot homemade buttered biscuit, slabs of bacon, a couple of scrambled eggs, and a big bowl of grits with butter, of course. And I'll tell you a trick. You put just a little tablespoon of coffee in the grits, and it makes them taste even better. My gosh, it's good. Grits. JoJo wants to know what grits are. I'm joking. I'm making a joke about the grits trees. They do not grow on trees. Grits, JoJo, are ground up corn. Okay, and it's ground up so fine that it makes something like very much like oatmeal, but it tastes a whole lot better than oatmeal. You put oatmeal is not good. I don't like oatmeal. Even when you put cinnamon in it, I can tolerate it, but I don't like it. Grits, on the other hand, have got a good taste, a good flavor to them, and they go fantastic with eggs and bacon. Absolutely. Put a little butter in them, salt and pepper. You're good to go. And just a couple of drops of coffee in them. Yeah, and mix it up. You talking about some good eating, buddy. Now you can buy Quaker Oats instant grits. They come in a pack, and all you do is pour hot water in them. You're good to go. You can make grits in about 2 minutes, ready to eat. Well, hominy. Now, hominy is a little bit different, Blue Eye. Yeah, we have to explain that to JoJo. Hominy is sort of the inside kernel of corn, and without the hull of the corn on it. It's sort of, and it's cooked to be very soft that way. Hominy. I never was a big fan of hominy though too much. It's okay, but I never was a big fan of it. I like grits, corn on cob, fresh corn, stuff like that. I love corn, but not hominy. I never was real big on that. Cheese, please, with my Georgia ice cream. You like a little cheese in it? Yeah, that's good too. Depends on how good the cheese is. I like sharp cheese. How about you? You like sharp cheese? I like sharp cheese. But I like the butter in the grits too. I like butter in the grits as well. Yeah, they call it Georgia ice cream, folks. That's what Joe Blue Eye Bandit's talking about here. Georgia ice cream. That's grits. You like yellow corn grits, huh? All right, Marty. That's pretty good. Yeah. Ice cream is good with sea salt and olive oil. Yeah. Yeah. Plain black pepper and butter. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You like that cheese that bites back a little bit. Yeah, I like a sharp cheese. Yeah. Bland cheese, it tastes like cardboard to me. Yeah. I don't like it. No. I like it to have a little bit of a taste to it, definitely. Hey, Juno, good to have you here. Brother, been looking for you. And what happened to you? You got 6 and sent out search party for you, Juno. We was gonna get a posse up and come looking for you. I'm missing my other buddy there, Bigfoot Dwarf. I wonder where he's at tonight. He's probably up to no good wherever he's at. He's probably on a camping trip somewhere looking for Bigfoot. I wouldn't doubt it. Hello, Brooke. Pepper Jack. Oh, yeah, Pepper Jack. Yeah, that's good cheese, too. Yeah. Yep. You saw Bigfoot Dwarf in the chat earlier, huh? Okay, we're tracking him down, huh? He might show up. You never know about that. I thought he might have got mad at me the other night about me. I was throwing off on pot there. You know, I never mentioned this before. Pot, marijuana, is one of the main ingredients in witchcraft. They smoke it, they inhale it, they do stuff with it. It's part of the witchcraft rituals, by the way. People don't realize that. Of course, it's been used that way for thousands of years. It was also used by the indigenous peoples of this country and other countries as well. It has a long and varied history with its magic rituals and witchcraft. They can make a swamp cabbage just addictive. Lord have mercy. He may be on another adventure somewhere. Well, he's probably out there somewhere. Sinners, yeah, I didn't like it. It was okay, but I think Hollywood just cannot make good movies to me anymore. They drop the ball. It's just like watching a ball game and somebody does something stupid and drops the ball. It just ruins the whole thing. Sinners was not that good to me. I did not like it. It was okay, I guess, but I mean, it just did not. It did not. It did not really tackle the subject the way it could have in many ways. They kind of dropped. Hollywood is too woke. Too many. You got too. Hollywood is nowadays not entertaining you anymore, my friends. It's indoctrinating you. Don't ever forget that. I sent Gerald a reel earlier about the woke Jesus. Y'all need to see that. It's on my Facebook. I put it on my Facebook. You talking about funny? It is. Unfortunately, it is funny in a bad way, but that's the way it goes. The woke Jesus. My gosh. Oh, you need to see it. Go to my Facebook and check it out. Oh yeah, skunk cabbage. Where's all the good writers at? Yeah, that's right. Where are the good writers at? They're not out there anymore. They all went woke. They went woke for the joke and got broke. That's the way that goes. That's all she wrote. That woke stuff is ridiculous. I don't know. Oh, excuse me here. I gotta do some glass cleaning here. It's getting smudgy. I hate glasses when they get smudged up on you. I just use them to read with. I do not wear glasses most of the day, except when I get to start reading the fine print. Of course, now I've got the podcast on the big screen tonight, so I can see everything. I really don't need the glasses tonight. I'm just wearing them out of habit, I guess. I can see all of your. I can see the chat room good. We have a good chat room, don't we? I'm proud of it. Hey, Jason. Hey, bud. How you doing? Hope everything's doing all right. Yeah, we have a great chat room. We have one of the best on the web here. Yes, sir. No, don't worry about showing up late. You showed up. That's the main thing, Jason. Absolutely. I was eating dinner late tonight. Yeah, I was talking about it. I had to do that too. Absolutely, but it's okay. We took care of it. We got it done. We sure did. But I had crazy dreams last night. I don't know what was going on with it. I had some weird dreams last night. I dreamed it was like, looking for something, and I was in a diner somewhere. And I remember I went in and ordered food, and I was like I was looking for somebody. Maybe I was investigating something. I don't know, in my dream. It was really weird. Oh, you always wear glasses. That you gotta use them to see with. Yeah. Well, they come in handy that way, blue-eyed bandit. Absolutely. But I have always, I have worn reading glasses for years. I just use them to read with. That's all. I think because as a writer, always writing small stuff that kind of ruined my eyes. So that's why my eyes went bad. But now seeing far off, I, see things in the woods. I can read signs and all. There's no problem with that. It's just close up reading, small print. Extra busy taking care of my wife. She had a stroke on Memorial Day. Oh my gosh. Occupational therapy and physical therapy and regular checkups. She's dodged a bullet by the grace of God. Well, that's wonderful to hear. We will definitely keep her in our prayers. I hope she will have a full, complete recovery. My father had a stroke many years ago when he was in his 50s, and I had to drag him up to the table and tie him in a chair and feed him. And he finally got back where he could finally drive a car again. And after that, so he recovered completely from, almost completely from it. He never was 100% back from it, but he became more functional afterward, which was good. He was determined to do it, though. That's what it takes, determination, when you get in that situation. And my father was a very determined man, definitely. He was a great Christian man, too, by the way. Well, that man, he was not for most of his life, but towards the end of his life, after he had strokes and all that stuff, he said that in church one day. He said that he was actually glad that he had a stroke because that led him to God. That's amazing to think about that, to say something like that. But you know what? That's what it takes for some people, unfortunately. But it came out good for him in the end. I know where he is tonight, definitely. With my mother, I know where they both are. And that's good. That's good to know that. Uh, but uh, you can come back from things like that if you're determined. Absolutely. You finally got a proof of medical. My first daughter's appointment is in October. Well, that's good, Jason. Good. Don't you miss it. Make sure you put it in your phone and all that, so that you won't forget it. I love my calendar, my phone calendar. It keeps me in line. All the podcasts I do and appointments and all that I had, I don't think I could do without it. It reminds me, thinking it's just sort of like a personal secretary. My mom had a major stroke, got a helicopter ride in the hospital. They did experimental procedure. She's still kicking. Well, that's good. My mother also had a stroke, and she was talking backwards. Can you believe that? You ever heard of that? She could talk. She was talking, trying to communicate, but everything coming out was backwards. That's what the stroke did to her. She finally got over that. And wait to see if I have to do jury duty or not. I might be able to get out with my mother. Well, if you are disabled, or your doctor can sign a thing for you, Jason, to get you out of that jury duty. I got called for jury duty the other day, but I got out of it because of my age, actually. So do that. If you get your doctor's permission, you can get out of it. Yeah, I got out of jury duty easy, Jason. Yep. Well, they used to would pass me over because I was, policemen do not serve on the jury in South Carolina, so they would pass me up on that because I was a Leo. That stands for law enforcement officer. I wonder where my friend Gus's mom, Maureen, is tonight. Where are you at out there, Maureen? Gus, the girl and her gone. I wonder where she's at. She's out there somewhere. Been missing her a lot here lately. You get paid to do jury duty, yeah, but it wasn't worth the effort. That depends on regular jury, and if you have something like a murder case or capital jury case, you got paid for it. But I don't think you get paid very much for regular cases in South Carolina. By the way, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know where Marine's at tonight. We may have to get a posse up and go find her. Go look for her and Gus, wherever they at. They're probably up to no good. What do you think, folks? She's been sick about, but she's getting better. Oh, okay. I know she had not been feeling well, and but I thought she said she was better. Yeah. When I got called, I was also in LAD, and it got out too. Oh yeah. She's been posting vids. Okay, she may be feeling better. That's good. Well, wherever you at, Marine, you better be taking good of my boy Gus now. Take good care of him. Talked to her earlier. Okay. Well, I have parents to take care of, and I can't leave them home alone. So I might be able to get out of jury duty. Oh well, if you have that kind of case going on, you definitely can get out of jury duty if you've got uh impaired people to take care of. Yeah. But anyway, that's definitely what you can do. Well, it's actually your civic duty to perform jury duty, and I'm not telling people to get out of it, but if you have certain extenuating circumstances and you can't, they ought to be able to understand that, definitely. Since you're in a better mood all day, well, that's good there. Guess what, Jason? Maybe some of your prayers are slowly becoming. Here's the thing about answered prayers, my friend. Okay, listen very close. Sometimes answered prayers sneak up on you. They're being answered back in the background and you don't know it. But then you find out one day that, hey, while you wasn't looking, your prayers got answered. That happens too, okay? So think about that as well. Yeah. God works in many different ways, my friend. Absolutely. Of course, a lot of people quote that, God works in mysterious ways. That's not in the Bible. That's just an old saying. That's not in the Bible. Well, you're quite welcome. We will pray for you and your wife. We pray for you to have strength to help your wife. That's good too. You need to be strengthened. You need to be upheld as well. When your wife or your husband's sick or is going through some bad thing, that hurts you too. That's a strike against you as well. And God understands that. God not only sees you as two people, He sees you in one too when you're married. He sees you as one because that's what you are to Him in the sight of God. You two become one. And although you're still two, it's kind of weird to think about, isn't it? But you still become one in His eyes. Even the demons recognize that. I've known them to do that. They recognize the oneness of marriage. Yeah, I think I got a lot of witches mad at me the other day on Aquarius Rising. I was talking about witchcraft, and they got mad at me because I was talking about makeup. Now, I mentioned that on Jessica's show. Makeup is sort of an illusional glamour, but it's not really, really magic, okay? But they took offense at that. Oh, makeup is not witchcraft. I didn't say it was witchcraft. I said it was similar to an illusional magic that is witchcraft, by the way. Uh, when you put on makeup, you look different. That's what clowns do, okay? And clowns are connected to the Nephilim. We'll have to talk about that one night. But that's what you do with the makeup. It's sort of changing reality, and that's what magic does. Magic changes reality, um, but you're doing it in a human way and not magical when it comes to makeup. But they kind of got mad about that. They thought, how dare you say that makeup is magic, is witchcraft? No, I never said that. But I was just using that as an illustration. But people can. Here's the thing about it. I like that quote that John Wayne said one time. It's not my job to make you hear right the things that I say. And that's true. Some people hear you the wrong way sometimes. Yeah. Those are leg locker statements. I don't associate with it. Magic or anything. Magic is an outlaw spiritual thing. You know, it's outside the realm of God. And you know, when you take something, I don't care what it is. It can be witchcraft. It can be a ball team. It can be a celebrity. You put something. That's idolatry, by the way. You put something in front of God. You're worshiping that, and you're not worshiping God. How does that? How does that get good? No, that's not good. That is bad. You're doing something very bad. And you know, when you do stuff like witchcraft, you know, I talked about this the other night on Wednesday's show. When you do stuff like witchcraft, you're pushing God out of the way and say, "Let me do this. I can do this better than you can, God. Move out of the way, God. I'm going to do this." That's what you're saying when you do witchcraft and magic and stuff like that. You don't trust God. This is anti-faith here stuff. That's what you're doing. You say, "I'm the one that can do that. I'm able to do that. I don't need you, God." That's what you're saying. That's what idolatry is. You're replacing God with something else. I don't care what it may be, whether it's witchcraft, Taylor Swift, who or what. Whatever it is, that's not good. What did the very first commandment say? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Number one. That's exactly what all that stuff's about. But people don't like it when you tell the truth because the truth ain't in them. They are enemies of truth and light, whether they know it or not. That's what my show was about Wednesday night. Agents of evil. We got to always check ourselves and make sure we're not fighting on the wrong side here. We don't want to become agents of evil. We're not here to be devil's advocates. Devil doesn't need any advocates. He doesn't need you on his side. He wants you there, though, because he wants to screw you up. Come on. What's hard to understand about that? That's very plain, very clear. If you get upset about something like that, that tells me that your fruit ain't good hanging on your tree. There's something wrong with your fruit hanging on your tree. It's rotten, got worms in it, or something. Something's going on with it. They don't like that stuff. Matter of fact, they didn't even like it. I know. I heard somebody mention this the other day that yoga was stretchy witchcraft. You know, yoga, by the way, I hate to say this. I'm just being honest now. I'm not, people going to shoot the messenger. They ready to throw me under the bus. Boy, they threw me under the bus on Aquarius Rising the other day. They threw me under the bus. Okay. But let me say this. I'm telling the truth. Yoga, the exercises in yoga were once upon a time the worship of Hindu gods. Look it up. I'm not making this up. It's true. That's what yoga really is. My mom had to drag me through all that stuff. Oh, Lord. But that's what yoga is. I mean, let's be honest about it. That's what yoga is. The positions in yoga are all attached to the worship of different Hindu gods. I'm not making that up. I'm just telling you the truth. Now, I'm not judging you. If you do yoga, that's your business. That's your business. But you need to know what it is. You need to know and understand what it is that you're really doing there. You know? I'm just trying to be honest with you. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me for being the messenger, okay? Chakras, yeah, all that stuff, spiritual stuff. That is worship of Hindu gods. Well, what god are you going to worship? The gods of the Hindu religion? Or the real God of this universe? Because I got bad news for you. The gods of the Hindu religion are demons. Look at them. They're standing on skulls. They got fangs. Look at them. They're demons. Where does that get good? Huh? How does that get good? Yeah, Aleister Crowley practiced yoga. Yeah, I don't have an issue with Hindu gods. I love visiting temples and Buddhist temples. But they're not gods, Jojo. That's the point I'm making here. They're not gods. There's only one God in this. What does the Bible say? You believe one God, you do well. Even the devils do believe that and tremble. You can't stay and be a Christian and say, well, all the gods are good. You can't say that. You're putting gods in front of the other God. You're not a Christian. I'm sorry, I got bad news for you. You're completely against the Christian religion. I'm not talking about religion now. I'm talking about the Christian precepts that make you a Christian. The religion, Christian relationship. I'm not talking about churches now. If you put other gods in front of your true God, what did I just call that? Idolatry. You have broken the very first commandment. In order to open portals, you need to learn to move energy to focus your form and ways. Why do you need to open portals, Urso? Ask yourself that question. You weren't born to open portals. That's spiritual stuff. You don't need what do you need to open portals for? Why are you opening portals for? Because you mainly, most of the time, you open portals to usher in demonic forces. That's not good. You're playing around with something. You know, I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you. I'm putting the facts out there. People get mad at me for it, I know. Maybe I should shut up because, they get mad about it. Satan is a great deceiver. Absolutely. He knows how to do it. He's got people blinded completely, walking towards that 500-foot drop cliff with a blindfold on. And it's a spiritual blindfold, my friend. That's exactly what it is. Tell the truth because they get mad. But I mean, I'm not here to hurt anybody's feelings, to get anybody upset. But hey, the truth is the truth. I'm not going to water it down and put sugar on it to get you to try to swallow it when you don't want to anyway. It's hard when you try to be a watchman on the walls, my friend. But you know what I mean. Certain things you don't need to dabble with, certain things you don't need to do in this world, okay? Just like you don't go out and shoot people and do stuff like that. There's spiritual concepts. God has given and made spiritual laws. Do not violate those laws, my friends, because then you are violating God. You are violating his precepts. He made them laws for a reason. And there are certain spiritual laws that you don't want to violate. Messing around with portals is definitely one of them. You got to be very careful what you do, and spiritual wise, because you can open doors you might not want to open. It can happen. Anybody happens. And some people out there are so arrogant, they say, oh, well, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Nothing bad's going to happen to me. And they're the ones that end up being possessed by demons or end up dead in a graveyard somewhere. And I know a lot of them tonight that are in graveyards out there, put there by these things. Don't tell me it's not dangerous. I've seen it. I've seen the effects of it. I know what it will do. I have looked in the face of true evil, my friends. I never told you about this, but I have actually looked into the face of true evil. It almost cost me my mind. It almost cost me my sanity. It bruised and hurt my spirit so bad, it took me months to get over. I don't ever want to wish that on my worst enemy, to see that face of evil, but I have seen it. It is real, and you don't want to go there. Trust me, you don't want to experience it. This stuff is not playtime stuff here. This is real deal, okay? And you don't want to mess with it under any circumstances. I don't care how much of an expert you think you are. You will find out differently if you're not careful. It's like playing with a snake. It's going to bite you sooner or later. Or you're playing with a loaded gun. You're going to have an accident. That's what you're doing spiritually. You're playing with a spiritual gun here. A spiritual snake that's going to bite you one day. I don't care how good you think you are. It is dangerous. It is all very dangerous. And it doesn't matter how much knowledge you've got. I've found that out my own self personally. You are still in the process of being a victim if you're not careful. You got to watch. It is better to nip it in the bud by not doing it. Then you don't have to worry about it. Don't mess with it. That's just like if you got a thorn sticking in your leg tonight. The more you play with it, the more it's going to hurt. Finally, it's going to get infected. Could end up losing that leg or your life. just because you want to play around with a thorn. That don't make sense. Spiritual thorns can be stuck in you too. Oh yeah, you've got to be careful. That's true, Alexander. Never poke the hornet's nest. Never punch a sleeping dragon. Okay? Don't wake him up. You'll be sorry you did. Because we're all only just human. None of us are Superman. Okay? We're not Superman. We're not superheroes. We're just human beings. Anything can happen to us. We're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect in this realm of existence, spiritual realm that we're in right now. No. We're not gods. We were not made to be gods. Do you understand that? We were not made to be gods. We are human beings. One day we may be that way, but we're not now. We're not in this order. We're not. No. And we got to understand what our place is. And you know what? Somebody told me this the other day, and they quoted this wrong. They said, well, Jesus in the Bible said we are gods. You're taking that the wrong way. He was talking to the Pharisees and telling them, you're making yourself out to be gods. That's not Jesus meant. He didn't mean they were gods. He said, you're trying to be gods. You are not made to be gods. That's God's job. That's not yours. Well, no, Zen Master, we know what you're talking. We know where you're coming from. We all are not good at typing. I'm afraid not. I can't. My brain works a whole lot faster than my fingers. That's my problem. Okay, but anyway. But I'm not going to get into that tonight. I'm sorry. I digress. I'm not going to get in. But it just bothers me when people throw me under the bus, you know? People just throw you under the bus and say, that's it. When you're trying to just, point things out for them, trying to teach them something, But that's the way it goes. That's being human too, I guess. No, Jesus said to the Pharisees, you are gods. What he was saying is, you're making all these laws and you're following this religious formula. You're making yourself out to be gods. That's what he was saying to them. You go back and read the whole thing in the context of which it is. They're taking it out of its context and saying Jesus said we could be gods. No, we are not made to be gods, but that's what the New Age religion teaches you. And the man who is coming, who is known as the Antichrist, is going to teach you that. Take my hand, together you and I will be gods. Who said that in the Garden of Eden? Eve, go ahead and eat this fruit. You'll be like what? A god. This is the thing that Satan's always holding out to people. You can be a god. We were not made to be gods. I know you may have done some things, I have seen some things done too. Your knowledge, whether it be from experience or not, you still are dangerously messing with something that you don't need to mess with. And you don't need to keep one foot in that. If you're going to come out of it, come completely 100% out of it and get away from it. Let it be in the past. Let it die to God. When God wants you to surrender something to him, you need to surrender it 100% and let it die. That's what you do with Ouija boards. You bury them and let them die. You let this old man die in you. You move on from that. No matter what you have done in the past, do not let it remain, even the knowledge of it sometimes, in you, because it's still pulling you and holding that darkness in you. You don't want to keep attached to that. That's shadow work. You hear that a lot. That is wrong, folks. You do not want to do shadow work. Shadow work is getting in touch with your dark side and doing stuff. That's not good. You're making the old man predominant over the new man. If you are in Christ, you are a new creation. Well, the old man has died. The old man or woman is dead and gone. That's the way it should be. And that's how you surrender completely to God. If you do not surrender to God, you keep one little thing away from it, one little thing in your path, one thing that's still got a hold on you. What did Jesus say? You're at the plow, but you're looking back. That's what happened to Lot's wife. She looked back. You got to cut those ties 100% completely. You got to. You got to let the old man die so that God can make you a new creation in him. That's the real true relationship with Jesus Christ. Okay? I mean, I'm just telling you what the Bible says. I'm not making this stuff up. It's not my opinion. I'm telling you what the Word of God says. And I'll tell you one thing, when it comes down to brass tacks, every book in this world can be burnt tonight except that Bible. That is the living Word of God, inspired by the Holy Spirit. If you do not believe that and understand that, you got a problem. You got a real problem. But that's all I can tell you about that. I'm a born-again Christian. I was baptized so years ago, I can't remember when. Well, that's good, Jason. No, Blue-Eyed Bandit, you're absolutely right. She didn't have the faith. She had a part of her was still back there in Sodom and Gomorrah. She wasn't trusting and believing in God. That's why she looked back, and look what happened to her. I heard a preacher preach a whole sermon one time on just that one thing that happened to Lot's wife. And it's true. That's a warning for all of us. You're playing around with something that's going to turn you into salt. Okay? It's going to turn you into a big lump of salt. You're playing around with spiritual fire. Okay? You got to understand that. And I'm not picking on any one certain person. I'm just telling you. That's what he says. And if you don't believe the Word of God, where are you going? Where are you going with that? You can't say you're a Christian. And if you can't, the Word of God is not, thank you there, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Good to have you here, brother. The Word of God is not something like a smorgasbord. You can't go in there and pick out one piece here, one piece there, what you want. You got to take the whole thing in context the way it's supposed to be. Absolutely. I was thinking about you the other day there, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I said, I hadn't heard from you in a while. I'm glad you're in here, buddy. Good to see you. I appreciate your donation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good to have you here and your support. Absolutely, friend. But yeah, I was talking about Bigfoot Rob, about being thrown under the bus. I've been there before, though. I've been run over by that bus many times, folks. Okay, so it doesn't bother me that much anymore. I've been thrown under the bus. I've been thrown to the wolves. So guess what? I come back with those wolves. Okay, I come back leading the wolves. I've been there. Okay. Oh, you got a plan for me, brother? All right. All right, that sounds interesting. But anyway, yeah, you get thrown under the bus. You get thrown under the bus. That's what people are gonna tell you sometimes. I'm afraid. Be the salt of the earth. Don't be salty to God. That's good. That's a good quotation. The salt of the earth. Yeah. You know, I've actually been in situations, in investigations, where things were so bad we had to get in a circle of salt just to keep them off of us a while, just to keep them from messing with our minds. I'm serious. Always keep some salt handy. Definitely, it might come in very useful. But sea salt, the table salt's man-made stuff. Sea salt is the main ingredient. Of course, you can use any kind of salt that comes from the earth, whether it be sea salt or Himalayan salt, as long as it's salt, real salt, not man-made chemicals. Okay, it works. It is a very spiritually cleansing and protective thing. It can actually protect you in certain instances. That's why I told Jessica the other night, if you ever doing some remote viewing and you feel like there's something, you might want to do it from inside a salt circle. I mean, it would be an extra little protection there, absolutely. Most paranormal believers seem to be very gullible, in my opinion. Well, they are. Everybody's lately seems to be very gullible in some things. They're blind to some things and open to others and things that they shouldn't be open to. I'm not against having an open mind. I've said this many times before. Yes, we should all have an open mind, but we don't want it to be so open that our brain falls out. That's what you got to watch out for. You don't want your brain falling out because that darn thing's hard to get back in. Okay, so don't be that open-minded. You can be anything too much. You can drink too much. You can smoke too much. You can eat too much. Anything too much of anything is not good for you. Okay, moderation in all things is very smart. Even open-mindedness. Okay, you got to be careful with that as well. If you walk in your authority, you're either warding them off or being in the biggies. Yeah, you do have authority over these things, and it's good that you recognize that and use that authority, believe in that authority, because that is an act of faith, my friends. Okay, just like holding the cross up against a vampire, or using silver against a werewolf. That is well, what is your take? Do you think we all in this field are being remote viewed by the elites? I would not surprise me a bit, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, because they are definitely utilizing remote viewers. And that's what I mentioned on the show the other night. And I've had people tell me this. They said, I went to remote view something, but I got pushed back. They're guarding something. They use these remote viewers to secure places and things that they want to keep hidden. And they definitely can use these remote viewers as weapons against you. That's why it's so dangerous. You better be professionally prepared when you do these things, because Bigfoot, Rob, they can mess with your mind. They can screw you up mentally. Remote viewers can do that, and I'm sure the CIA, I was approached by the CIA to join them because of certain things I know. And if they were looking to recruit me, who else have they got? You know what I'm saying? They've got they're using psychic warfare without a doubt. They're using psychic warfare out there. And that means they can screw your mind up psychically if they want to. They can do it. Just like they can see through walls. Don't ever forget, whatever technology we have here right now with us tonight, the government has 100 to 200 years ahead of us in technology. It's no telling what those guys have got. I saw the other day, they have developed a drone bullet. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. They have a drone bullet. It's the size of a fly. It can hit you in the head, drive a 3-gram explosive into your brain, and kill you instantly. A smart bullet, folks. They can send this thing after you. It'll go around corners after you. It'll go through rooms after you until it gets its target. That's you. That's a smart bullet. Think about that in a moment. Think about it. A smart bullet. That's like a smart missile. Yeah. It's coming after you and it ain't going to stop. Think about it, folks. That's scary. And they got this technology. I seen it in use. It's real. And this drone is no bigger than a fly, but it is lethal enough to destroy your brain. Think about that. I was saying to be killed by the CIA. Oh, yeah. They wipe out people that way. They have assassins. They have psychic assassins. Don't they? They don't. They can kill you remotely. We call that another kind of psychic powers, remote control. In other words, they can do things just like your remote control does for your TV. They can do things from different areas, just like remote viewing. Instead of just looking, they do stuff with their minds. They can do this. Scary stuff when you think about it. Absolutely. Oh yeah, they have black mirrors. They use all this stuff. They can utilize all this stuff. They're deep into this kind of stuff. Yeah. That's scary to think about. What if I were to shoot a smart bullet at you? It's not going to stop till it kills you. You know, I have been shot at. When I was in law enforcement, we were shot at. That bullet didn't have eyes. It wasn't looking for Dennis W. Harrell here, okay? It was just a bullet going wherever it wanted. Think about a smart bullet looking for you. That's not good to think about. That is kind of scary when you think about it. Absolutely. But this stuff is real. This is not science fiction. It is scientific fact. But yeah, they've got remote viewers guarding this stuff. I seen a thing that the CIA released the other day that remote viewers said they found the Ark of the Covenant. They know where it's at and that it is hidden and that there are entities guarding it. It said entities now, not people. It said entities that are guarding this thing. What does that sound like? Huh? Maybe angels or something? Smart guns fire smart bullets. Yes, they do. And they can program that gun to find you. That's scary to think about, you know. There's and they have invisibility cloaks. They have all kind of that's wild stuff to think about. Just the stuff that they may have out there is mind-boggling. And it would not surprise me if they don't have teleportation of things. And yes, that's why you would open portals. You could open portals and teleport something. That's what that means. Portal work, porting something. To port something means to teleport it, send it somewhere else. And look, if you can teleport around the planet, you can also teleport stuff off planet. All you got to have is a sending and receiving station, like a radio. You got to have a sending and receiving station. That's probably real. I'm not making this up. And there are tunnels underneath us that crisscross this whole planet that may have super fast rail systems in them that they can move where they want to in an hour's time, all the way completely across the world. If you and I tonight were to fly to Australia, it will take us hours. It would take them only minutes on these super fast underground railways that they have. That's wild when you think about it. Absolutely. And of course, there you're talking about, hey, Monica, good to have you, dear. You're talking about underground bases. Yeah, that's my library in the background. I need to pick up some books, though. Now it's getting kind of messy. Optic camo device came from Ghost Recon. Yeah. Well, they got all kinds of stuff. They got things that would scare you. I guarantee you they do. And I had a strange dream here a while back that I was actually in one of those underground bases, and it didn't feel like a dream. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go with that tonight. That's a story for another time. But I saw, I think, containment area down there, and believe me, it looked like something out of hell. I asked them, I said, "What's in those cages?" You know, and they said, "You don't want to know. You don't want to know." And you know, that's another thing about we were talking about witchcraft. Another witchcraft ability is to be able to astral project yourself. You know, there are witches that can put themselves in your dreams, into your dream. These are dream witches. They can manipulate you and put themselves in your dream and do stuff to you. This is witchcraft, folks. Pure and simple. This is the power of evil. They can come after you. I've had them do it. I've been attacked in my dreams. Yeah. You're most vulnerable then. Your guard is down low. That's when they really want to hit you. That would be good therapy for you, Jason. Get you a handpan and play it. Make you feel good. Yep, dream witches. Be careful. Be good tonight, or the dream witches may get you. I have actually been spiritually attacked in my dreams. Absolutely. Not long ago, a few weeks ago, I did. Yeah. You got to know how to handle yourself even in a dream, my friends. What's the difference between astral projection and remote viewing? because the astral projection is actually sending your spirit out. The remote viewing is sending your psychic mind out and viewing something, looking at something. It is a form of astral projection, but it's not the same thing. Astral projection, you're leaving your body completely. Remote viewing, you're still in your body. You understand what I'm saying? You're using your power, your psychic ability to see something outside of yourself. But astral projection, you completely leave your body behind, but you are still connected with the silver cord, as the Bible calls it, the silver cord. But woe unto you if that silver cord gets broken. Or when you come, what's so dangerous about astral projection? You are opening yourself up completely to possession if you're not careful. And even Jessica has been attacked in certain instances when she was doing remote viewing by outside forces that you would call definitely demonic. Okay? They are out there waiting for opportunities. Don't give it to them. They are opportunists. They are always waiting, just like, people are waiting in parking lots to catch you and make a victim out of you of robbery or carjacking. Demons are the same way, spiritually speaking. They're looking for an opportunity to make you a victim. Don't you let them do that, my friend. You don't have to let them do that. You have authority. But you do put yourself in a bad position when you do stuff like astral projection. You better know what you're doing. And you better be very careful if you do stuff. I would advise against it because it's so very dangerous. Like I said earlier, you're playing with a spiritual gun that might go off anytime. I'll be scared to leave my body and something to go in my body. That's what you could get back home to your body and there may be something else in there. You got a problem. You are demon possessed. And a lot of people said, well, I thought you said you couldn't be demon possessed if you didn't open doors, but that's what you're doing when you astral project. You're leaving the door open. You got to get back in your body, don't you? You're leaving the door open. Just like if you left your house today, you're going out in your yard for a while, you leave your door open. You don't usually lock it. I would advise you to do that. You better not leave that door open to your body under any circumstances, no matter what they may be, because there are things out there waiting, watching for that opportunity to take advantage of it. Yeah, tongue drums. Yeah, that would be good for you, Jason. Yeah. You know, musical talent is a way to get in touch with your soul. You know that, don't you? Something could attach yourself to your silver cord and be careful. Oh yeah, yeah. You're just putting yourself in a bad. What have I said? And I've said this so many times in other podcasts. Never ever operate in this world at a disadvantage. You always want to operate at an advantage, not a disadvantage, because then you will become a victim if you're not careful. Your armor from Ephesians is the locked door for your soul. Absolutely. You got to guard those gates well. That includes the gate that's in your mind, the gate of your ears, the gate of your eyes, the gate of your nose, the gate of your mouth. Keep those gates under watch at all times. You do not want the enemy coming in those gates in any way. You don't open these doors to your life either. If you open certain doors to your life and let things in, bad influences, evil, demonic stuff like movies or songs or concerts as you go, whatever the situation. I was watching the other night that woman from Wicked. She looks evil to me. I don't know who she is. She's something else. She's doing Jesus Christ Superstar, a woman doing Jesus in this thing. It's very sacrilegious, okay? And it was a bunch of junk. It wasn't even worth the oxygen to watch, okay? But this is evil stuff being put out. Who's sitting around watching this stuff? I would not watch it. You couldn't pay me to watch it. I'm not, my soul's worth more than that. You better be careful with those gates, my friend. Be very careful. Things can come in those gates if you open them. But that's your spiritual authority. You have authority over those gates. You have authority over the spiritual things of your life. Use that authority. Keep those things out. Yeah, Jason, look into that. Check it out on Amazon. You might get a good deal on it. You never know. But yeah, when you get in touch with your musical part of your soul, it's good. You touch your soul in a good way, if it's good music. Just like anything else, it can be bad music. That's going to be bad for you. Good food is bad, and bad food is bad for you. So it's the same thing. Absolutely. It depends on what your intentions are. Well, you better watch it with those mushroom gummies. Be careful with those. You don't want to, overdo it. I think things like that should be used medicinally, for medicinal purposes, and not for recreational things. That includes pot gummies and stuff like that. Definitely can be medically beneficial for you, but you don't want to use it in a recreational kind of way. That's where you can run into troubles of addiction if you're not careful. But yeah, we got to, I tell you, folks, and I tell you something. This world is becoming so much, much more dangerous. So many things are working against us, and I'm not spreading fear. Trust me, I'm not about fear. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not in the business of doing that. Remember what the Bible says: the God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. These are the things you want. God will give them to you. They are spiritual gifts. Okay, they're not human love. They're not human power. They're not. They're not the things of the human mind. This is godly stuff here. Okay, and God will give you these gifts if you ask Him. But that's what we need in this world. Don't let fear control you. Don't let fear run your life. Don't let fear do bad things to you. It's a weapon of the enemy. Don't let it prevail against you. You don't want to mess with fear. And if you ever get fearful, use it against it. Use it for you and not against yourself. Let fear motivate you in a good way, not a bad way. If you're going to let fear motivate you, let it be in a good way, not a bad way. But the best thing of all is to fight fear off and not to pay attention to it like that. I'm going to tell you, folks, I have been in situations that would turn your hair gray. Okay, that I know without a doubt here tonight, my God pro- provided protection for me. Okay, or I would not be here to tell you this. Okay, and I'm being frank with you now. And if I had given in to fear, I definitely would not be here tonight to tell you about this. Okay, trust me. So do not let fear ever do that to you. Fear is a weapon of the enemy designed and formed against you. Don't let it work. Take its power away from it. And don't fall for that trick. Well, that's good, Jason. That's good you have that kind of a good relationship. And you will be blessed for that, Jason. Absolutely. I don't know if those things will help your learning disability, but check into a lot of stuff before you decide on anything, okay? And it might be a good idea to talk with someone about it. I used to get bad anxiety, it doesn't as bad as I used to. Yeah, anxiety is part of fear, okay? It is part of fear. And don't let that get to you. You need to fight that off. And faith is what fights fear. Faith is the enemy of fear. You get that? Very simple to understand. Faith cancels out, erases fear. Okay? But fear, if you let it, will cancel out faith. You don't want that to happen. Okay? And there you go. If you let that happen, you're operating at a disadvantage. Okay? You don't want to ever get in that situation. All right? Yeah, it might be a good idea to talk with a doctor first about that. Yeah, and if it would help you, it'd be worth exploring. But you got to make sure it's going to do that for you. Absolutely. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. Okay. uh, I am a doctor of metaphysics, but that's not medicine. Okay. But um, you might ought to check with that. That'd be a good idea. Heavy medications for anxiety. Oh yeah. Anxiety can really incapacitate you, Monica. Absolutely. It's just it can be, a disability just like anything else if you let it get out of control with you, It can be debilitating to you in many different ways. Absolutely. CV Wildcat. Hello. I like that name, CV Wildcat. Welcome aboard. Good to have you here. But yeah, we need to explore all possibilities and things. And if you don't ask questions, you never learn. You know, that's the way it goes. I have anxiety, I have depression, I get nervous, stressed out. Well, look at what you're dealing with too. Okay, you're dealing with a lot of stuff on different fronts. You're just human, you know, and you need to get away by yourself once in a while, Jason. Just by yourself. Don't take your phone, nothing. Just go away, even if it's just 1 hour. By yourself, go sit on a park bench and listen to the birds. Don't say anything. Don't talk. Don't interact with anybody. Don't take the phone with you. Just sit there for about an hour and just relax and just meditate, maybe pray, and just listen to God, and just find that peace you need, my friend. You need peace every now and then, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's a fine little piece of peace. You still need it. Okay, it will help you immensely. Don't hold anger. Say it. Don't hold it in. That's right. Don't let these things fester in you and build up in you. You know, you need to seek that peace out every now and then. We all need to get away from stuff like we need to get away from phones and computers and TVs and people and stuff like that, and just go off alone and be with God for a while, or just be quiet and listen to things. We need to do that. We need to find that inner peace. Yeah, do it, Jason. You will feel better for it. You will be a whole lot more at peace. And when you have that inner peace, that cancels out anxiety. It cancels out fear and all this other bad stuff. It will help cancel it out because you're drawing off of peace in you. That's what you're looking for, and it will help you definitely. You don't have to do that every day. I'm just talking about once in a while. You need to get away from everything and just, for just an hour. If it's just 1 hour, that's 1 hour of peace that you will have, and that's valuable stuff right there. Absolutely. I love going outside, listening to the birds and other things. Well, that's where you need to be. That's exactly what you need to be. Don't let things distract you. Don't go sit on the park bench and just watch people and let things. Just kind of go somewhere in your mind and sit there and just listen to. You just close your eyes and listen to the birds and the squirrels around you and stuff like that. I used to do that out in the woods. I'd be out in the woods and I would sit there. I would sit there for hours. Oh, it's so meditative, so peaceful to get in touch with nature that way. Yes, it will help you. Absolutely. If you do it on a regular basis, it will be very beneficial for you. Yes, nature is healing. Absolutely. The greatest cathedral ever built to God was not a building. It was nature, the trees, the mighty trees of the forest, the green grass and the leaves and all that, and nature and the birds. And that is the real, true cathedral of God. And you find peace there. You will find peace there. Lay your burdens at Jesus' feet every morning and night. He's there to lift them. Absolutely. He said, my yoke is light, my burden is light. Cast your cares upon me. That's what he said. He can carry them for you. He can carry you when you need to be carried sometimes. Yeah. But don't sit too long in the sun if it's too hot. But yeah, I like a good shady place myself. And just sit there and let the breeze run, fall on you, feel the grass and the birds singing, squirrels chattering with each other, and maybe kids playing way off somewhere, Even dogs barking has a calming effect sometimes, or especially ocean waves or a running stream. That is peace, my friends. That's what we all need from time to time. Absolutely. Yeah, walk barefoot, get grounded, with the good earth. Mother Earth's waiting for her child, come back and touch her. Definitely. Absolutely. Everyone's a brick, put them in a bag and put them under the feet and say, these are not mine, I hand them over to you. That is surrender. That's what I spoke about earlier. You got to surrender these things to God. You keep holding on to them, it's not going to do you any good. That's just like if I were to bring something broken to you today and you're the only person in the world that can fix it. If I don't turn it loose and allow you to fix it, it ain't going to get fixed. We got to understand the things in our life are that way. When we surrender them and turn them over to God, then things get done. Because you're having faith enough to leave them with God. That's faith. That's an act of faith. I have a lot of people ask me that. What is faith? I don't understand what faith is. I don't even think I have faith. I don't know what it is. Faith is simple, my friend. It's letting go and letting God. That's what it is. Yeah, Epsom salt bath is nice to think about too. Or just even a bubble bath. A lot of women like a bubble bath there down there. Or put some oil in the water, soothing oil. Anything like that. I think I heard one woman tell me one time she loves to take frankincense baths. She puts a little frankincense oil in the water, and that's a good idea. So whatever does it for you, whatever's good, that's not harmful, but it's beneficial for you, it's worth doing. Walking barefoot is good because you're grounding yourself. Absolutely, you're grounding yourself with the earth from which you come. You are part of the earth in that aspect. That's your mother. You're getting back in touch with mama. Don't fix what ain't broke. What ain't broke, take it to the fixer. That's right. Sometimes, Blue-eyed, we tend to overthink things. We make things complicated. God is never in the business of making things complicated. He makes them very simple for us, just simply to understand and to do. It's not a formula. Those were the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They were making things hard on everybody. That's why Jesus called them vipers. He said, you make it hard on yourself and anybody coming to God. They were working against God. You don't want to work against God. You want to work with the laws, the spiritual laws of God that I talked about earlier. You want to work with them. Yeah. But anyway, this has been a good discussion tonight, folks. I have enjoyed it, and it's good to have an open discussion night every now and then. That we can all get in touch together, sit around and just talk, and enjoy our company. Nothing wrong with that. We do that from time to time here on Paranormal Point of View. We'll be trying to watch some more movies, and we'll have some more reviews next week. And I'm trying to get some special guests up. I'm working on one right now. I hadn't heard back from them yet, so hopefully we'll do that. And we had a fantastic show with my good buddy Jessica Jones the other day. If you missed it, go back and check it out. It was last night, as a matter of fact, on the Smoke Wolves. If you missed it, it is on my channel, and it's on her channel. Check her channel out. Show her some love, and check her store out, War Woman Goods. Okay, buy some stuff from her, and peruse her store. And speaking of stores, my good friend and brother Gerald Fountain has a store. Yes, he does. And you need to go check that out. He's got some really groovy stuff in that store. Okay, anybody remember that word, groovy? Groovy and cool stuff. Daddy-o, absolutely. Go check it out at Midwest Night Watchers channel. Go show him some love, okay? Yes, and go show Lady Jessica some love. Go show Shiro and also known as Jane and Gerald some love on their channel. Check out my good friend Bigfoot Michigan Rob, who was on here momentarily. He was on here a little while ago. Check him out. Check out Brenda Beyond the Box. check out my good friend Star Fox, Lord Star Fox. Check him out. Check out our other good friend Heidi Pop. Check her out. And also check out Danielle Bora Diva Borathon. Check her out. Her channel. She's been on vacation, but she's coming back. And check her out when you get a chance, okay? And whoever else I may have missed. I did a show on the Eye of Jupiter the other night, but they haven't put it up yet. But it should be up very shortly. I did a show on vampires with them that was really out there rocking, buddy. It was a rocking good show, absolutely. And but I appreciate you all so much for being here. Each and every single one of you are important to this channel. Don't you ever forget that. And if you do, I'm going to be here to remind you of it, okay? So you are definitely, every single one of you, I can call you all by name, are important to this channel. This is your channel. This is part of yours, okay? This is your channel. I want it to be your channel too, okay? You will always have a voice on this channel. A lot of those podcasts out there, they just talk to you. They talk at you. I want to talk with you. I want this to be part of your channel as well. You will always have a voice here, and they will never stop this frequency, okay? They may try, but they're not going to stop us. We're not going to, you know why? We are shadow wolves. We hunt the shadows, okay? That makes us special, okay? And as I tell you that as the Midnight Hunter, I am leading you into those shadows to fight those shadows, to pull the truth out of the shadows into the light. Okay, we're doing some important stuff here. All right, don't ever forget that. And until we get back together again, I want you to keep thinking about that. And also, I want you to remember that if any of you need me for whatever purpose, you just want to talk, got a question to ask, want to tell me a story, whatever the situation, please don't forget, you can always reach out to me at DennisWCarroll.com. Okay, go check out Cheryl's store. Go check out Jessica's store. I'm gonna have my own store one day. One of these days, you're gonna come on here and I'm gonna announce it. Okay, I gotta set it up one day. But anyway, I've just been incredibly busy here. Like I'm working on a book. Okay, so that's taking up a lot of my time. I've got 2 or 3 books I'm working on really at one time. But there's one I basically want to try to get out before the end of this year. I'm trying to desperately get out. And that, of course, is Paracryptidology, Hunting Monsters and Things of Nightmare. You're going to love this book. And anyway, thank you so much for your support. Be careful out there. Like I said earlier, it is a dangerous world, okay? But don't live in fear. Don't walk in fear. Walk in beauty, my friends. Walk in the light, okay? And I hope God will bless each and every single one of you tonight, that you will have an incredible weekend and an even more incredible week next week, okay? And until we get back together again, take care of yourselves. Godspeed, okay? And don't forget, lux and tenebris, light and darkness. And until I see you again, God bless you all. And until then, I will see you in the shadows. I have but one mission, and that is wherever providence may lead me, to seek out evil and rid the world of it. Solomon Kane. I want you to believe in things that you cannot. Dr. Abraham Van Helsing. You can support Hunting the Shadows at our Patreon, patreon.com, Hunting the Shadows Podcast. Also, our memberships are open on the Hunting the Shadows YouTube podcast channel. Please also support our Facebook groups, the American Institute for Paranormal Research, Southeastern Cryptid Investigations, Legend Trackers Society, Highway to High Strangeness, Monstrum Venators RS, Agency of the Arcane, and Hunting the Shadows Agency. You can contact Dennis Carroll at denniswcarroll.com.